Hey guys, Joe here, and here we are for a brand new video type, and this is going to be a matchup analysis slash matchup guide where I go over what certain character is good versus what he's bad versus, and pretty much say all the good matchups for a certain character and all the bad matchups for a certain character, and even the medium matchups for the certain character. And of course, this week's going to be Lucas because he is my main. And on this, of course, opinions will be differing. Maybe I'll think one of these matchups is very good for a reason. Maybe you'll think the matchup is bad for a reason. And if you have a different opinion, make sure to tell me in the comment section below why you think something. And we can just kind of put this to rest. You know, we can, like, everybody has different opinions, but these are just going to be mine. I hope that this does help you somewhat. First, I'll go off with its pros and cons. Then, of course, I'll go off who they're good versus, then they're bad versus, and who has an even matchup. And just kind of tell you if they're generally doing good, just like fighting a lot of people, or if you really want a secondary with your character. With that said, let's get this started. So let's get this started talking about the pros of Lucas. Now, of course, you can see them all on screen right now, but I want to go over the main ones that I think are most important. And that first one is amazing combos. Well, Lucas has a lot of really good combos, which gives him really good matchups versus most of the characters in the game. If the character is pretty big or even medium sized, he can really combo them, but if they're smaller, it won't work way too well, so that's what really gives him good matchups for big characters and not as great matchups for these small characters. Now, the next thing is that he does have those great aerial attacks, which kind of goes into those combos. Another thing is that his down special can be used in a lot of really cool different ways. Mainly, it can help you stall so you can get back onto the stage. It can help you just hit opponents with it. You can stop a lot of projectiles. And with that, you can use it as an anti-projectile game. Or you can use your side B as an anti-projectile game to just shoot the side B, hit the projectile out of the air. Or you can use your Zera to hit projectiles out of the air. Also, he has multiple different playstyles. You can play really defensive, you can just run back, use your Zera, use your side B a lot, or you can go really offensive, try to use your Zera to get grabs, or just try to get a lot of nairs, get a lot of forward airs, a lot of up airs, stuff like that. A lot of different playstyles, offensive or defensive. Also, he's really strong at this game at gimping. You can gimp with your down B, you can gimp with your up B to hit them off the stage if they don't tech it, and you can also gimp with your down air and back air. So there's a lot of really good ways that you can gimp opponents, and even your forward air can kind of gimp people with not as good recovery. Next, he has a lot of good kill throws. He can go up throw, he can go back throw, he can go down throw into up air. Pretty much most of his throws do allow him good kill throws, and this gives him really good matchups versus a lot of the characters in the game. Also, he gets really rewarded for sweet spotting his attacks and for his spacing really well, so you can do okay versus other good spacing characters in the game, even though his ranges aren't quite as much. Finally, he has a lot of floatiness, which makes it so it's really hard to combo him, so some of the characters that could combo a lot of other people in the game can't combo him. And finally, he just has a ton of kill moves, so if the opponent's playing a character that doesn't have way too much weight, they're probably going to die really fast. But with all that in mind, we must also go over the cons. Now, the cons are mainly that he may struggle in some high tier matchups. A lot of them just have better frame data, a lot of them just have faster moves, have some better kill moves, faster kill moves, or just way at a better weight, do a lot of stuff better than him. So he has some really big struggles with the high tier matchups, and it's not the great at the high tier. He can win them, but they're just not great a lot of the times. Next, some of his attacks have really slow startup, like his up smash, like his down smash has a pretty decently slow startup, his neutral B has somewhat, and his up B is a little bit slower than someone like Ness is. Also, he does have that huge ending lag on something like up smash that I was talking about. He has really low damage on knockbacks, moves that you sour spot. That's a thing that's really annoying because you do have to perfectly space a lot of your moves, or else they're really worthless, like his back air and his forward air. Of course, he does have small range with his aerials like I was talking about, so he can be outspaced pretty easily. He does have that tether grab, which can be good, but at the same time, most of the time is pretty bad because if you miss it, you're going to be punished really badly. He's really light, so of course you're going to die early on, which can be pretty bad because a lot of the high tier characters can't kill too early on against heavy characters, but since you're so light, you can die pretty early from like a Pikachu up smash. Next, you can't really use fair to space once again, as well as a lot of the other moves, and yeah, that's pretty much it. He has quite a bit of cons, but he also has quite a bit of pros. So now let's go over some of the actual character analysis, who is good versus, who's medium versus, and who is bad versus. So I personally think Lucas actually has quite a bit of good matchups, or at least a lot of even matchups, not way too many bad matchups. But with all that said, let's get actually talking about some of his good matchups, and who he's really good versus, and of course you'll be seeing on the screen little boxes of characters that he is of course good versus. I won't be talking about specific characters, but I'll be talking about little attributes that he is very good versus. Now the first one is that he's very good versus people with a low range slash slow slash no projectile at all. He's good versus low range slash slow projectile or no projectile. Pretty much because he can outspam them a lot. He can outspam them with Zera or side B, and if they just have a slow projectile, you can just use side B to cancel it a lot of the time, and then go in with your very own projectile, so it kind of counters a lot of projectiles that are slower. Next, he's really good versus close range opponents, because they'll have to come in at him, while he can just run away and side B and Zera, or he can get it then with his forward air, with his back air, or with his neutral air, so I'd say he's really good versus close range opponents. Next, he's great against people with bad recoveries. Of course, his up B can can get people off the stage and just win. His side B can also kill people off the stage. Forward air can get people. Back air can get people. He has a lot of ways to really gimp bad recoveries, so he does have really good matchups for all those guys. Also, he's very good versus lightweights and heavyweights. Now, he's good versus lightweights because, of course, some of his combo moves still combo versus lightweights, and mostly because he kills really, really early, like 50 to 60% for some of these lightweights with something like his down throw up air on certain maps, or with the side smash, or his up smash, or his down smash, stuff like that. He can kill really early, and versus heavyweights, he can get these really great combos with his down throw nair, down air, up air, footstool combos. He has a lot of stuff he can really do against heavyweights that he can't do against lightweights, so he kind of mixtures, and he's really good versus both of those characters, in my opinion. Now, also, he has really good matchup against characters that need to gimp in order to kill, because it's almost impossible to gimp a Lucas. He can recover from pretty much the very far end of the stage, and if the opponent tries to stop you, then they're probably just going to be hit off the side of the stage and maybe die themselves. Also, he's really good for people with small hitboxes because he has small hitboxes, so it's kind of a little bit more fair, but at the same time, you can also go in with your Zair and your side B to just kind of give you that little advantage against them. And also, he's really good versus them because he just has a small hitbox on himself, so it's really hard to hit such a small character such as Lucas. Next, he also has very good matchups versus slow combo characters. Now, he's not too great against fast combo characters, but against characters like Robin that has some combos that are a little bit slower, he can actually do really well, because a lot of times you can get out of their combos with your floatiness. He'll hit you a few times, you can get out, kind of similar to Jigglypuff. Next thing is that he's very good versus big or medium-sized characters, as I said before, just because he can get a lot of these big combos on them. He can go nair, 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 up air, down air, back air. He can get these huge combos on them, which really gives him that, like, almost instant win advantage. Finally, he's really good against other tether characters because his tether is actually a lot better than most of them. You can go tether into tether, your tether comes out a lot faster, and it still has a decent range. So I'd say if you're fighting another tether character, you probably have a bit of an advantage. So now let's talk about who Lucas is really bad versus. Now the first thing is fast combo characters. Characters that can combo him really well, they can still combo his floatiness, and they can just get on him and combo him, because he really doesn't have way too many ways to get out. He can try to go for a nair, but a lot of times that just won't quite cut it. Also, he's very bad versus people with early kill moves, because of course, he is a light character, and he can just die really early, so that's a big problem. Next, he's really bad versus people that can out-spam Lucas. For example, if somebody has a further range projectile, if somebody can use their projectile a lot faster, if they have a lot more projectiles, then they can just out-spam Lucas and it forces you to go offensive. And offensive Lucas, a lot of the time, is not exactly what you want to be doing. You want to be going a mix of offense and defense, and being forced to just go offense can be pretty hard. Also, he's just not really good versus people with a ton of spacing moves. Pretty much his only spacing moves, other than his projectiles, are his forward air, and maybe you could count his back air. That's about it. I mean, he does have his Zair and his projectile, of course, like I've been talking about, but if you don't want to use those, he doesn't have way too many spacing moves, so the opponent, somebody like Ike or just like Marth, they could really outspace him, but they do have some bad things against him. Now, of course, another thing is that characters with much better frame data, pretty much a lot of the high tiers in this game, will just kind of beat out Lucas straight out, because Lucas doesn't have the best frame data in the game. His nair takes quite a while to get through, a lot of times it doesn't combo it too well, his forward air doesn't, like, it can't combo into itself, his back air a lot of times has a small hitbox and just comes out a little bit too slow, and somebody like she can just go fair you off the stage, and you really can't do anything because your moves take way too long to come out. Same thing with, like, Pikachu, you can go like upper, neutral air, fair, all these different things. You can't really do way too much, and they just have that better frame data, so it kind of gives you a really hard matchup on that, and you're pretty much going to have to win all those matchups just with some great reads and getting some of your smashes that'll kill really early on. Now, the next thing is that quick characters that can get into a space really fast, these will also beat him. Someone like Sonic, they can just easily run in, and then he doesn't really have way too much he can do. Of course, he doesn't have that great, like, speed for himself. He does have some floatiness, but that won't save you all the time. And also, a lot of his tilts just won't really get him away. All you can really try to do against someone like that is just kind of jab and hope that they get away. But if they shield it, then you're just kind of doomed once they get into your area if they're way too fast for you. He's also not way too good versus people with disjointed hitboxes. He does have some disjointed hitboxes for himself, but when people have bigger disjointed hitboxes, you're just kind of doomed for a little bit. You can't really do way too much, so you will have to really rely on that spacing with your side B a ton. And finally, he's just not really great against people with exceptional punish games, because if he misses one of his smashes, if he misses his Zair, or not his Zair, if he misses his tether grab, then they can just go for a smash attack, they can go for an up smash or something like that, like Fox, and then you die. So, you can really be punished really easily with Lucas. So, these are why I think Lucas has some bad matchups, but let's finally go on to some of the even matchups with Lucas. So, for Lucas, I think a lot of his even matchups just kind of spread from people that he has half a good matchup versus and half a bad matchup versus. Maybe he's fighting a fast combo-based character, but they don't have any kill moves, so then he really can't die way too early, and then he can just use his floatiness to get out of the combos later on, or just stuff like that. He can kind of just like have half good and half bad, and that's really what gives him a lot of these even matchups. Of course, he has a lot of really good things about him and a lot of really bad things about him, so it does allow a ton of even matchups, as you can see on the screen. So pretty much he has an even matchup versus everybody else. He somewhat loses some matchups, but at the same time, he somewhat wins other matchups, which allows him to do really well at tournament gameplay, in my opinion. Now, he does have similar matchups or even matchups because of his speed, his range, and his combos. So while one person may have a little bit more combo than him, he may have a little bit more range than them, or he may have a little bit more floatiness than them, or he may have a little bit more speed than them because he's actually pretty fast, or Lucas may even be a little bit smaller than them. So he has a lot of things that can give him a big bonus, while of course the opponent could also have a bonus from something else, and it kind of evens it out in my opinion. Now, there's a lot of good things about Lucas, and this just really makes him like a good character in the cast in my opinion. You know, he has all these benefits, he does have a lot of bad things about him, but a lot of times most of the characters that you'll be fighting have one good thing, like one thing he's good versus and one thing he's bad versus, so it does kind of even out over the entire spectrum of the game, and it does make him one of a very good tournament character. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think about Lucas's even matchups. I think he has a lot of them, and just basically overall, most of his matchups will be even. Now the final thing is, do you need a secondary with Lucas? And I would say, when you're playing Lucas, you probably don't need a secondary. He has a lot of even matchups, quite a bit of good matchups, and really his bad matchups can still be winnable even at tournament level, especially if you're a lot better than your opponent. So I'd say, you don't need a secondary. He could use one, maybe someone like Lucario, that's what I was thinking about, even Falco. But, you know, you can pick whoever if you really want to. But I'd say you don't need a secondary. Thank you guys for watching though. I hope that you did enjoy this new type of video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like, comment down below your opinions on all this stuff, and subscribe, and tell me if you do want more of these types of little matchup analysis guides. But if you don't, make sure to tell me that too, and I'll just have this be the only one. Thank you guys for watching though, and I'll see you all next time.